And in the night like this, they will pick up those ammunitions, go out, kidnaps, rob, anything they can do. And when they come back to town the following day,
Kabir, you've done a lot of work out of the Barakwa land. What did you see? What do you know? Can you share your first-hand experience?
Not just in Igbora, not just in Lanlate, not just in Oyo State, but from my experience across the Southwest states, I realized that most of the killings, the kidnappings being perpetrated are being done by the Bororos, who are mostly referred to as foreigners. Some of these Bororos, they come into the country through Benin Republic, some through Cameroon, and you get to realize that in the essence of it all, some through Niger, that many of them are not the traditional Fulanis. And the reason is this: we've had cases where traditional Fulanis, those who are Nigerians, some of them who are from Kwara State, also alleged that they have also been kidnapped. They've also been victims of the attacks of these persons. Most times, those that perpetrate this act, they don't even have any cattle. All they have is gun, sword, and other weapons.
The violence doesn't end there. Nigeria is faced with the Boko Haram insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, armed separatist agitations in the southeast, amid communal clashes in the Middle Belt, southwest, and south-south. Increasingly, violence between herders and farming communities is spreading from Nigeria's central belt southward, while kidnappings are rife nationwide. What exactly led to this?
When you see a failure of this scale, of this magnitude, and spread right across the country, the first thing that comes to mind is that somebody somewhere who has responsibilities to secure Nigerians has failed in their duties. There's no other explanation for this. So we have a country that is poorly run, poorly governed, and therefore unable to master the requirements of securing both citizens and the country itself. That is the first one. The second one is that there are a lot of opportunistic criminal activities going on. People understand the weaknesses, they perceive a weakness at the level of the state. They think the state is weak or the state is incapable of protecting citizens from all sorts of attacks, bandits, kidnappers, insurgencies, insurrections, secessionists, irredentists. All these people actually exist because the state has not been able to assert its obligation and responsibilities to protect citizens. And they are emerging and increasing by the day. The third one is the failure of the Nigerian elite to get together and demand that the Nigerian state does what it's supposed to do. The leadership does what they are supposed to do, that is to protect citizens. The voices that are supposed to be heard are not being heard. Too many people are quiet, either out of fear or because they think that they are not likely to make any impact if they don't raise their voices.
Traveling by road is now an extreme sport. On our trip to Kaduna State, we drove along the Kaduna-Benin-Gwari Road. The 123-kilometer road trip seemed easy enough, but we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. From Buruku village, right on the outskirts of Kaduna, there is a fully armored vehicle with soldiers who lead drivers 3 cars at a time from Buruku to Odoa town. This stretch is considered to be the most dangerous. Drivers have to wait their turn as they stand no chance of traveling safely to and fro Birnin Gwari without these escorts. From Odoa, the journey to Birnin Gwari is considered safe from the kidnappers and terrorists, whose victims are not just travelers but also villagers and farmers in and around this long stretch of road.
Our major problem in this area is insecurity. These terrorists have wrecked our town and destroyed our source of livelihood. Nobody sleeps in this town anymore. We take refuge in the neighboring community and come here every day at 8 or 9 a.m. and then leave at 3 or 4 p.m. Look at me. I'm the village head of this community. I used to own a car, but these criminals made me sell it to pay ransom for our children. I can't estimate how much we have paid to bandits as ransom because this community has been attacked more than 25 times.
We have a lot of problems in terms of insecurity on our road, more especially in between Burku and Udawa. So we have a lot of insecurity. We have only one vehicle, which is mobile police. They are the one escorting our members to carry them to Burku. Let's say from January up to now, at least we lost more than 30 of our members as a result of the bandits.
Forests in Nigeria are now hideouts for cattle rustlers, highway robbers, kidnappers and terrorists due to the absence of state capacity or political will to exercise control. From Birnin Gwari Forest in Kaduna to Rugu Forest in Katsina and Zafe in Zamfara, these forests are now referred to as ungoverned.
Arena is in Niger, Shiroro. From there you cross over to Folwaya.
What security measures have we put in place for farmers and the indigents that are easy prey to these bandits?
Well, I have explained to you that Kaduna is very vast. The state is so huge. We had over 46,000 square kilometers. And I have also explained to you that we are having this problem mostly in locations that are remote. You know, boundaries with Niger State, boundaries with Zamfara, boundaries with Katsina State. You know, the locations are very remote. Even if there's a distress call, before you get there, it takes you time because of the terrain, mobility problem. But the Air Force is complementing the ground troops and the police as well. Once we receive a distress call from a location that is very far, what we do, the Air Force move while the ground troops and the police form a blocking force. You know, and it is really yielding positive mark. We don't have enough boots on the ground. There's a need for us to scale up recruitment. There's a need for security operatives or our security agencies to outnumber the criminals. We are not relenting. We are working and we are making progress. In the first quarter of 2021, we were able to neutralize 64 bandits.
Our schools, just like our roads, have become hotspots of violence. Across northwestern Nigeria, from Zamfara to Kebbi, Kaduna and Niger, about 1,000 students of primary schools, secondary schools and even universities have been kidnapped since December 2020. Most have been released after payment of ransom, while scores are still being held in forest camps. Some of these students have died in captivity and some killed during the abductions. Earlier this year, after the kidnapping of students at Government Science College, Kagara, Niger State, I asked the governor, Malam Abubakar Sani Bello, if a state could guarantee the safety of school children.
No one can guarantee that unless we have the numbers, the manpower of security personnel required. The Niger State, for example, during the military administrations, Niger State had 14,000 policemen. Today we have 4,000. Same Rafi local government where this kidnapping took place, Kagara town itself has less than 10 policemen. So how will it work? How? What magic could you do? We don't employ or employ policemen. I understand in the past, the state police command had the powers to employ policemen from the states, but it is no longer like that. And that's probably the reason why we're having problems.
That was back in March. Not much has changed since. Many have said that the present centralized structure of the Nigerian police is too detached from local communities. A vote conducted by NOI polls indicates that many Nigerians are in favor of state policing to bring security closer to the people. Experts say there is a need to reflect on the current security approach across the country.
The various institutions need to sit back and, reflect that the current approaches that we are deploying to address security concerns, are they adequately addressing these issues? What are the intelligence mechanisms, that you need to put in place to really get information on how crime, is happening across various communities? So I think critically it is the model, it is the approach that seems to be a bit defective. We are practically waiting for violence to happen before we then react. We talk about community policing, especially for the police especially. I keep making reference to the police because they have the mandate when it comes to internal security. Community policing is very important. Then intelligence-led policing. We are not emphasizing that so much. Intelligence-led policing is that strategy through which you just want to get intelligence of what is happening in a certain community.
In the southeast, insecurity takes a different dimension. According to authorities, agitators for the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, a separatist group campaigning for Biafra independence, have been responsible for a spate of attacks on security forces and innocent people since December 2020. Olu, a local government in Imo State, has become a flashpoint of trouble in the region. On the 25th of January 2021, many Hausa-speaking traders in a market in Olu were going about their business when gunmen invaded the area, killing some and setting shops ablaze.
It is very, very unfortunate that this kind of thing would happen in 21st century Olu, 21st century Imo, 21st century Nigeria. People are not happy with the things, with the way this country is being run. When you talk about security, there is no security in Nigeria anymore.
We are here at the Islamic Central Mosque, Amafeke, and this is the third Friday without holding a Jumat service here because of insecurity issues. There is a lot of apprehension amongst the Muslim community.
This is my third year living in Olu, and I have never had any ugly experience living here until recently. During the NSAS protest, they burnt our mosque and killed some of our members in some part of Olu town. For 3 weeks now, we have been unable to observe our Jumat prayers in this mosque. We now live in fear. More worrisome is the absence of security operatives in the town. Despite all these incidents, the governor has not visited us to assure us or condole with us.
Since the January attack, Olu has had no peace. The people are in constant fear as these gunmen, time after time, unleash violence destroy shops, kill, and even behead people in the community. In the southeast and south-south regions at large, dozens of security officials have been killed. Biafra agitation and the violence going on in the southeast have been said to be an untoward way of expressing dissatisfaction about leadership failure on the part of all tiers of government.
Well, I feel that there are many voices in the conversation to deal with the disaffection that people have about the Nigerian state. There are many voices, and evidently his is just one of those voices. But that may not be the optimal route to go. There are so many benefits of a functional, democratic, sound constitutional state. But where there are imperfections, you will now begin to see the voice that Nnamdi Kanu echoes or propagates. War is terrible. Sometimes you think about it from a more glamorous point of view, but it's bloody, it's heinous, it's damaging, it destroys families, society. Society can develop without peace. And in terms of the disaffection of those of us who are from the southeast goes, there's a need to hear us and to look at our grievances and to consider them on their merits.
The southeast substantially mirroring Boko Haram. We have not been able to understand and deal with the issue of IPOB. The Igbo leadership allowed IPOB and ESN too much ground to take too much ground to control what is going on in the southeast. So they misread the threat of organizations like IPOB. There was opportunism, crass opportunism. People thought maybe this IPOB will do for us what we want. They will get for the Igbo what the Igbo didn't get through the political process. And eventually now we are creating a monster. And it's a monster that is eating up the local environment, the same way Boko Haram ate up Borno and Yobe and parts of Adamawa. IPOB and ESN are eating up the southeast. The federal government is throwing the military at them, the same way they threw the military at Boko Haram, rather than trying to understand the real issue. What is behind IPOB? Who supports them? Why do they support them? What is the issue that has made IPOB attractive to a large number of young people? Can you do something about it? Is it something you need to do about it?
I would say that the Southeast governments can do a whole lot better. The state governments, they can do a whole lot better in delivering services to the various constituent parts of the Southeast. We don't see enough of government in our rural communities, in the local government. We need to raise the bar as per the effectiveness of subnational entities. All right. Once we've gotten to a point where we can say for certainty that the state governments are operating optimally and delivering their own share of the governance dividend, then we can look elsewhere to seek inputs. But state governments in the Southeast need to up their game.
The Nigerian police force, on whose shoulder the responsibility of protecting the nation lies, is unable to perform its basic functions, forcing the Nigerian military to step in.
A society gets the kind of police that it pays for. Over the years, successive administrations have not made the connection around policing and development. So they just see the police as, oh, that is the police, and not critically putting it in the position of primacy, because people need to be safe internally first. You need to take care of the internal enemy before you begin to look at those ones that are threatening you on the outside. So over the years, there's been consistent underfunding, which is very, very critical. You want to undertake police operation, it has to do with funds, it has to do with state-of-the-art technology, equipment, and all of that. And then the manpower, less than 400,000 police personnel currently police a country of over 200 million. So what it means is that there is inadequacy somewhere. The police right now is overstretched. The country is very big and diverse. And then if you look at the scale of insecurity that is happening, it changes rapidly. So what it means is that the security landscape is not constant. You understand? So the police is trying to really grapple with all of this in the midst of very meager resources in terms of training, in terms of equipment, in terms of manpower, and every other thing. Government's approach in trying to address some of these inadequacies by the police has been to set up committees, police reform committees. But the question again is that each of these successive government that comes in set up a committee, do they make reference to the last committee to say, okay, what did my predecessor, found when he talk about policing challenges? How can I build upon that and actually implement this to make the police effective? But no, our approach has been that, okay, I get into office and then I'm setting up my own committee.
Though the carnage isn't over yet, in more recent times, the joint military effort of the Nigerian Army and the Nigerian Air Force has recorded more success in combating terrorists and criminals.
In the last few months, the synergy and jointness among the three services has been cordial and overwhelming, which has resulted in the decimation of most of the criminal elements we have in this country.
While Nigeria may or may not reform its police soon, critics say the new conception of security now places emphasis on human and non-military variables, saying even the best of soldiers and policemen may be unable to maintain security in a country with a whopping 33% unemployment rate. Nigeria cannot solve its insecurity problems in isolation of other developmental issues. Where we go from here depends on our ability as a people, a government, and a nation to make the urgent steps needed to pull our country, Nigeria, from the brink.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. From the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Hello, you're welcome to this edition of Timeless Conversations. For me, it's a privilege to be in the presence of my guest. He is an icon in engineering and broadcasting and public service in Nigeria. Pioneer, Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority.
Engineer Vincent Maduka, also named Ifeanyi Chukwu, which means glory to God, was born in the Ekpetado area of Lagos on the 5th of October 1935. He is from Delta State. He attended the Lagos Government School and won a full scholarship to King's College Lagos in 1949. He graduated with a BSc Honours in Electrical Engineering from the University of Leeds, England in 1959, and also received the MENG-SC degree in Applied Acoustics from the University College of Dublin, UCD, Ireland in 1969. He undertook a graduate apprenticeship with the renowned radio company Marconi Co. Limited in the UK and joined the Western Nigerian Broadcasting Corporation, Ibadan, as a broadcast engineer in 1961. He spent a short time at the Irish National Television Organisation, Dublin, in 1968 to 1969, and on return to Ibadan in 1969, he was promoted Chief Engineer. He was appointed General Manager, Chief Executive Officer there in 1973.
Welcome to this program, sir, Engineer Vincent Maduka.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for granting us some time of your very busy schedule.
Oh.
I put busy in parentheses. You have had a wonderful career, an illustrious career, premised on your study of engineering. What motivated you to study engineering?
Right. Well, the easiest answer would be that I enjoyed physics, chemistry, and mathematics. All right. But I also enjoyed English literature. It was European history I was taught, which I enjoyed. But more importantly, to answer your question, was that if I undertook engineering at degree level, I would get a scholarship.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. That was one. Two, there was no engineering school in Nigeria that awarded a degree.
At that time.
So I would go abroad to study.
Mm-hmm.
And these were two great attractions. And three, there was a job waiting.
Oh, there was a job waiting once you finished.
Yes. Because in fact, our career master at school went through the government gazette with us because for graduates, the employment was almost clearly going to be in the public service.
Okay.
The private sector at that time couldn't afford to hire university graduates. So some very bright ones, people who went into the private sector, even left at intermediate, taken out of the university, are attracted by good pay and a car, and they left. But generally, if you had a degree, you were going to work in the public sector, by and large.
Okay.
Unless, of course, it was in law or medicine.
Medicine, yes.
And for law and medicine, there were no scholarships.
Oh, there were no scholarships?
No. You paid your way because the pay, your salary was going to be so good that everybody would line up wanting to do those two courses.
Oh.
So in engineering, you're going to get a job in the public sector. In my time, you're going to go abroad to learn it, and with a scholarship.
And so when you returned home after your studies, there was a job waiting for you?
More than that.
Oh.
I was finishing a 2-year mandatory apprenticeship Okay. In fact, with Makuni, foremost radio company.
The company, yes.
Exactly. And at the end of 2 years, I was considering an offer from them or any other electronic company in the UK. And then a letter comes to me saying, I am a Western Region scholar. I am bonded to work for the Western Region for 5 months, for 5 years.
For 5 years.
I must come and take a job in October 1961.
So no choice.
I had no choice.
So you had to come.
So I had to come. The pay in Nigeria was much higher than anything I was being offered.
Are you?
Pound for pound in Nigeria.
Than the UK pay?
Than the UK pay.
Oh, so the motivation was there for you to come back?
Motivation was there for me to come back, clearly, yes. When I came back, this is to make the mouth of those who didn't have that advantage water.
Water.
Yes. I was being offered £600.
Yes.
After 2 years of graduate apprenticeship in the UK. I was being directed to come and take the job, which in the public service was £972 per annum.
That was almost £1,000 then.
More.
Yes.
No, £600. Oh yes, nearly £1,000.
Nearly £1,000.
Yes. Then of course in Nigeria, you had a car loan straight away. I shared a flat with a Ghanaian in Chelmsford, and if I went out to London to work, I couldn't afford a whole flat, I don't think. But anyway, the conditions were far better. But that's also because we were privileged people at that time.
Okay.
I mean, I arrived in Ibadan, car dealers, brand new cars, I'm not talking of used cars, were sending me catalogs.
Okay.
I had a driver, all within 2-3 months of taking on a new job.
Home and taking up that job.
Yes. So, but I had to work for 5 years.
On bond.
On the bond.
Because of the
scholarship I had enjoyed, yes.
Okay, but while serving that bond out, what was your experience like?
It was completely open-ended for me.
Okay.
As long as I remained there, I think my bond would have expired in 1966.
Yes.
By that time, I'd had at least one promotion from 900 or whatever pounds to 1860.
That's like double.
Yes. By 1967, 68.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. By 67.
67.
I think by 67.
That was still within your bond period.
Yeah, period. So the opportunities were very were ample in those days.
Yes.
But as I said, things were different. When I gained admission into my secondary school, only 25 kids were taken in the whole country.
Into King's College?
Yes. It was a national entrance exam. Only 25 who were admitted.
But the population was low then?
Population was low, but not less than, I don't think we were fewer than 40 million, 30 odd million.
Yes.
Yes.
But then these days were in the hundreds of millions.
Well, Lagos today is 20 million.
Yes, or a little above.
Or a little above.
Yes.
Yes. So it was, we were a small minority, highly privileged.
Yes.
Because we were moving into the shoes of the colonial officials. There's no reason why anybody would expect that situation to go on.
Forever.
But you would have planned for a proper growth pattern.
Yes, but in the course of your career, you served in the regional and the federal public services.
Yes.
Would you want to share with us any major differences between the two, or were they similar?
Certainly not in my own experience.
Okay.
They were very different. very different.
In what ways?
First, when I started, it was a political system in place.
That as in a civilian system?
It was civilian.
Okay, sir.
Civilian, rather.
Yes.
In 61, I think Akintola was governor of,
was
the premier,
yes.
premier of the Western region.
Yes.
Because of the problem in the government party at the time, the Action Group,
yes,
in the two factions,
yes,
there was gross instability in the state. Even
within the entire region.
Within the entire region,
yes.
So rather. And WNTV suffered a lot for it. In my book, I showed how many chairmen, or board chairmen, there were times when a chairman didn't last 90 days before he was replaced, yes.
That's short.
Yes, because as the, given the schism within the party,
yes,
there were shifting alliances.
Yes.
And if you are chairman of a board because you were on this side, and
that side loses,
then you're out, and another chairman
comes in.
So even the general management was the CEO was invariably from the civil service, and they couldn't run a business, they couldn't run broadcasting anyway, and so it was a very unstable situation until the coup of 1966, when we then had a military governor. All right, and comparatively, I mean, it was far, far better and stable environment in the broadcasting house.
Okay.
When we had Emile Fajui.
Fajui,
yes. Well, he was killed in no time at all, and replaced with Adebayo.
Adebayo, yes.
Yes, who was a fine gentleman, and we had no difficulties. I'm trying to compare now at that level, because that's where things trickle down from.
Exactly.
You had a governor who he wasn't interfering at all with the running of the station. In fact, I'll make a little joke or issue.
Yes.
He came to do a broadcast once.
Okay.
Beforehand, he had asked for all the questions I was going to ask him.
Yes.
And obviously, between him and the civil servants, they rehearsed the answers. So Yomami was sounding very sharp, and then our bright interviewer, Kunle Adeleke, did a follow-up question on what he had just answered, and the man was obviously flustered. So he turned around, his officials were around the street. He said, "What number is that?" Because I mean, he had all been, and they couldn't see where that question came from. So, but we are afraid that a head will roll after.
I was going to ask.
Nothing happened, nothing.
Oh.
After that, he just went away.
Oh, nothing was done to the gentleman who flustered him?
Nothing.
Wow. And some people
would have taken offense and made trouble. All right, now this was within this region.
Yes.
I then moved to federal.
Yeah, okay.
Even the procedure of getting the job as DG in federal, which I had opposed the takeover of regional TV stations by the federal government. So I was surprised that I was even being considered for the job of DG.
And pioneer that.
Pioneer DG. I mean, it was a list of my ambitions.
Probably somebody thought, okay, you are opposed to it, come and do it.
There was somebody else had in mind.
Okay.
At the federal level.
Okay.
Who then turned it down and said, look, I know this chap, give it to him. And because they respected his opinion, they didn't know me, they gave it to me.
Oh, wow.
And within a year, they were beginning to ask whether it was the right decision they took.
Why would you say that, sir?
Because in the West, where I came from, apart from the governor, the military premier and all that, once the military, the civilian premier, once the military came in, remarkably, they didn't care about appearing on TV. Remarkably. But at federal level, they seem to.
Yes.
And I was not used to
that.
No, and so I got in trouble.
Oh no! Maybe we'll talk about that trouble soon. Yes. Now, you know, the leadership in the public service under the military and the civilians. How would you describe it?
Well, for me, we got on better as broadcasters with military than with civilians.
Really?
Yes, yes, yes. The military, we are not so worried about their own persons.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I went over to a federal job,
yes.
Military, it was after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Well, during and after the Civil War.
Okay.
I mean, I went to NTA in 1977.
Okay.
And the military war, the civilian, the Civil War had ended the whole 7 years.
Yes.
All right. The military had been in government since 66.
66,
yes.
67, yes.
So they were completely, I mean, it was as if we never have anything but a military system by the time I got to the federal.
Exactly.
Yes. And they were very sensitive about broadcasts and what you said and how you said it, which I didn't have at all as a problem in WNTV.
Okay. In those days that government used to change at...
No, that was civilian.
House. No, broadcasting house.
Yes.
Like whenever there was a coup.
Yes. Government change.
Yes.
But I really never... There was, all right, 65.
Yes.
Was it 65?
That there was a change.
When...
in 65, I was just 3 years old.
75 perhaps. 75.
75. Yes.
When there was a change, Muritala became...
That was 76.
When was it killed?
No, 76 it was killed. 75 it was.
75.
It was 75, yes. When Gowon went to Addis Ababa and all that, yes.
And the federal government was a bit nervy, I think.
Yes.
A new governor was sent to the West.
Yes.
And he started a purge system. Because even at federal level, there was a purge of civil servants. And on 4 o'clock radio, the entire family must listen. Because maybe
don't know who is still there.
Yes. So I had a case where I was being removed.
Oh.
I was on training abroad. And I had word that I was being removed. I should come back home. So I said, no. If I come back home to see myself removed, no, they can remove me when I come back home. I know I've been removed. And anyway.
Thank you, sir. We're going to take a break now. Yes. My guest is Engineer Vincent Maduka, who will be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still Timeless Conversations. Engineer Vincent Maduka is my guest. Sir, you refuse to come back home. You
finished
the training first.
Yes, I'll come. When I just kicking people around, from what I gather, he had friends who told him, because he didn't live even in the West, in the West.
Yes.
When he came, his friends, I think they say, were telling him that man there, he has to go, that one has to go. And he was just going by what his friends were telling him. That's what I was told.
Okay.
So I arrived, and I think the week I arrived, he was replaced.
Oh, no.
And the new governor actually came to WNTV and dragged me to my office. I wasn't in my office when he came, took me to my office and interviewed me. Asked me, where did you get this? I said, I met it here. What about that? I met it here, my predecessor, and so on. He said, well, they told me that you've been spending the company's money and doing all sorts of things. Not one thing has been changed since I took over in 73. This was 75. 3 years. So he said, the idea was that I was to be sacked.
Wow.
And he thought he better chat with this man first. That's how my job was saved. Now, the more usual thing was that you were sacked, and that was it. 4 o'clock news in those days. You were told that you heard that you have been sacked,
and that's it.
And that was it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So I think I was lucky there. Then I went to Federal, and I was also told by that the head of state was about to sack me because they were not sure I was loyal to the federal government. The kind of broadcasts we were making, news, we were not behaving as if we belonged to the federal government. I said, you own us, but we are running things for you. When eventually I was summoned by the head of state, say, I want to sack you. These were the things I'm told you've done. So I was given a chance, and that was sheer luck, because they could have sacked you, and there was nothing you could do about it. And they sacked many people.
So quite a lot of mistakes were made during that period.
Yes, it was highly personalized.
Yeah, but in terms of functions, there was not much intrusion into your day-to-day running?
You knew how to behave, and if you didn't behave like that,
you knew what
you might be in trouble. And I was summoned by the head of state, who said to me that he was on the point of sacking me. Then he just thought, why not talk to him?
Okay.
He said I was not patriotic enough because I was not singing the praise of Nigeria. I'm not a journalist, but I told the journalist, I said, you can't write like that. How does it sound to you? Then the one that said that I was not a patriotic Nigerian. There were a number of things he said.
And they're all in your book. You call the book Real Life.
Yes.
Real Life.
Yes.
Real, I believe, is from the reel to reel of those.
Exactly.
Those days. So it's like it's a catalogue of what happened.
During
your career.
Yes, exactly. Of my career managing 2 public service television organizations.
Yes. That was quite some experience for you.
It was. I enjoyed it, like all broadcasters do their careers. It's a family, it's a life, a way of life.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And you don't want to walk out of it easily.
And you've been retired for so many years.
I've been retired probably nearly as long as I had worked.
And you're still a distinguished leader.
Well, it's my first love.
In the family. In the family of broadcasting.
Broadcasting is my first love.
So you can't ever give it up.
I doubt if I can.
You can't.
No.
Because this book, for instance, now, many of us are going to read it.
Yes.
And we'll be reaching out, okay, you said this over there. Okay, let's get some further clarifications and probably ask you to do a follow-up. Like read maybe a second volume or something like that.
If you know how long it took me to do this one, you know that it will not be possible. Unless, of course, I've gained such experience that I can do it in a shorter time.
Well, maybe we'll use technology now. Because I want to talk about technology, for instance. Technology has been very impactful in the development of broadcasting in the world generally, but let's bring it home to Nigeria. You worked both in the period when there was regulation and the period when it was deregulated. By that, I don't mean you were careful.
Yes.
I mean that you have seen it happen.
Yes.
What do you think of the deregulated broadcast environment in Nigeria?
It's a democratization of broadcasting.
Yes.
In 1953.
Yes.
Tony Enahoro of the Action Group moved a motion for self-government for Nigeria now.
Yes.
1953.
Yes.
And it led to a crisis. Basically, the northern politicians said they were not ready for self-government, and there was a general split.
Yes.
And a lot of turmoil. And the colonial governor, don't want to guess any name in case I'm wrong, but I think it was McPherson or somebody,
yes, sir.
Went on Radio Nigeria, which was Federal Radio I think it was already Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria.
Yeah, it was then.
Yeah, or Radio NBS or whatever.
Yes.
And criticized Chief Awolowo for the criticism and the political crisis that arose from that. Whereupon Chief Awolowo asked for a right of reply. And there was only one radio, and it was Federal Radio.
Yes.
And he was refused that right of reply. So a debate started as to why the federal government could have the monopoly of the airwaves.
Of the airwaves.
The subsequent constitutional conference, again, I'm not guessing whether it was maybe 56 or...
I think that was the 56.
56.
Yes.
Then allowed regions
to
have broadcasting powers, which the federal government was enjoying. Whereupon the Western region went straight away and started a TV station.
Oh, not even a radio?
No.
I thought they started both together.
So that's why the station is called WNTV.
Yes.
WNBS.
And then WNBS. That means that came later.
So WNTV was the first station.
Yes.
First operation, October 1,
yes.
1960.
Was it 60, 58?
59.
59.
59.
Okay, yes.
Independence was 60.
It was 60, yes.
And WNTV was a year before independence.
Before independence,
yes.
okay.
So that was first in Africa.
Yes.
6 months after, the radio service
so then
came
it became
along.
WNTV,
WNBS.
Yes.
All right. About the same time, Eastern Nigeria came on air. Eastern Nigeria Television, ENTV.
ENTV, yes.
So that was the kind of competition you
That
had.
was.
And I think by maybe 62 or thereabouts,
Yes.
Radio Kaduna Television,
Came on.
RKTV,
Yes.
came on with both radio and TV at the
TV.
same time. And then the Federal TV was later. I think they came in
later.
1962.
Yes.
Under, I think, Babangida's
Babangida, yes, it was Babangida that did
Constitution.
that, yes. I think it was-
anybody could set up a radio station, provided he had a license granted by the president.
Yes.
Now, it was a bit too heavy that a license would be granted by the president, because that made it discretionary. I mean, I applied for a license, for instance.
Yes.
Never got it.
Yeah, many of us.
But not because they didn't like me.
Yeah.
I had stupidly with my colleagues, including Christopher Kolade, the today's grandfather of broadcasting.
Yes, yes.
And Teju Yeleye,
Yes.
my predecessor at Ibadan,
At Ibadan,
and
yes,
my
sir.
mentor.
Yes, sir.
3 of us, and a journalist, a reputed journalist, Richard Ikebe.
Richard Ikebe, yes, sir.
Richard Ikebe.
Yes.
Went to Obafemi, what was his name now?
Babangida?
No, to Obasanjo.
Okay, General Obasanjo, yes.
And asked him to come and be our chairman.
Chairman, ooh. It was a powerful board.
It was a powerful board. And we were laughing. I mean, you couldn't beat us.
Yes.
But then Babangida was to approve in person.
Yes.
In the meantime, General Obasanjo, having stepped down from being head of state, was criticizing Babangida's administration, that he didn't have a face of pity in his austerity.
Yes.
He said you should put a human face to his
the
authority,
yes.
austerity
Yes.
at the time. And he was a great, Obasanjo was a great champion of that.
Of that, yes.
Human face. And then he
application
then
went-
applied for a license. And of course, the then head of state, Babangida said, you don't have a radio or TV license. You're criticizing me. What will you do when you have one?
So the rest is history.
It's history.
Wow.
There's technological deregulation now. Anybody can run a TV station from his
your
on
your phone, from your home.
Practically.
Yes.
I
On
say
the-
practically
via
because-
the internet.
Yes, via the internet.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the freedom, the capacity to do that doesn't it seem like it's eroding the golden rules and tenets of broadcasting and how to conduct the business?
Yes, just as it's eroding it,
Yes.
so it's also enriching it. There's such great capacity now for you to broadcast.
Yes.
In my days, it was a great effort to set up an outside broadcast TV. You went there 2 days ahead to set up your antenna for microwave delivery to the end station. If you're doing it from a football match, you didn't have enough resources to have a permanent outside broadcast set up in the stadium. So you took your stuff back and setting it up and aligning.
Aligning for line of sight.
Oh, exactly. Yes. So it was, today you just go on your data and you're broadcasting to the world practically.
Send through YouTube or Facebook or any other book.
Exactly, any other book. So technology has liberalized broadcasting. You don't need an elaborate building. Look at, I'm sure whatever you are doing here cannot be any less than what they were doing at Victoria Island, Ahmadu Bello Way, NTA Channel 10.
It's the same.
Big grounds, I don't know how many hundreds of people working there. In 1986, at NTA, when I was DG, there were 7,000 employees all over the country,
All over the country?
Yes, 7,000.
That's a lot.
Hell of a lot of people.
The professionalism expected in the content, the balance expected seems not to be there.
Well, this is more an ethical matter than one of measurement of success. In media, success tends to be measured in the quantity of recipients.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. In commercial broadcasting, that fetches you more money. If your station is popular with people with buying power, then you get adverts and you make more money. Right? In the public sector, or from the public service point of view, if you are touching more lives and more souls and more minds, that is a measure of your success. And it was called broadcasting. Now, what are you doing? Narrowcasting.
Narrowcasting.
Yes. Even Lagos, I had only one TV station in the past. When we were moving to 2 stations, it was doubling the entire thing.
But now,
today,
in the Lagos area alone, I think we have more than 32 radio stations.
All right.
And not less than 12 or 13 television stations. Yes. So it's still broadcasting, but they're
narrowcasting.
Narrowcasting to select audience
you have to
groups
choose
and all
your
that,
audience,
and specialize in reaching them.
Yes.
But you didn't have the luxury of that specialization as DGNTA. But what you did have was that generations, including myself, grew up being influenced by content that was developed or produced under your direct supervision. But was there any time that your content rubbed off the powers that be?
Oh, yes.
Wrongly?
Oh, yes.
Would you like to cite an instance?
All right. Like, I was charged with disloyalty to the presidency.
Wow.
And what was the real charge? I was not showing the president often enough on television. Not that I was showing him in bad light.
Yeah, just
not often enough.
He should have been portrayed more. How was that resolved?
Well, when I heard that there was trouble coming, I went up to him because a lot of these problems are created by
people, hangers on.
Hangers on.
Yes.
So I went up to him and I said, if we don't show you all the time, it's not because we don't love you. But and the real example I gave him was, if we showed you so often that people, as soon as you appear, they say, let me know when
when he's off.
Let me go and use the toilet quickly.
Yes.
When he's over, call me.
Call me.
I said, you really, that's not what we want to do for you. He happened to be a president who you couldn't read his emotions from his face. So whether he agreed with me or not, it didn't show. The same thing had happened with the military head of state, Obasanjo.
Oh.
But he comes fighting.
Yes.
When he summoned me because he was fed up with me, he said, I got in front of him and he had a list of charges against me, written down, notes.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was taking them one after the other. And we were going through them. And he said, you told your people not to put me on TV. And I was looking at him. He said, yes, talk. I said, well? He said, what do you mean, well? I said, I didn't say they shouldn't put you on TV. I just said, you shouldn't be put on TV just so that to say that we have a head of state. I said, we put you on TV because you are doing something presidential.
Yes.
You're doing something that calls for it. But by the time little children and housewives, and I'm not putting them down, begin to say, that man, let me go and
do something else
quickly before you get back into serious business.
Yeah.
I said, that means that he said, that's not what they told him. I said, well, I wasn't there when they were telling me.
They were telling you.
Yeah. But I repeated the thing. He left in 79.
Yes.
And the civilian that succeeded him, I was already hearing rumors like this, that his courtiers were already saying, that television man, he doesn't show respect. And I went to him. He hadn't accused me. And I told him what we were trying to do, why we didn't show him. No, that was 79. Well, I lasted another 3 years. He fired me. I was removed.
Oh, no.
Yes.
But the tenure of service or of a job in the public sector seems to be better guaranteed than in the private sector. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Especially in broadcasting.
Yes, because it seems to be better guaranteed in the private sector.
No.
In the public
sector.
I'll be surprised. Private sector, you have a target.
Yes.
Returns.
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Now, if you can't deliver the money, you failed. Public sector, you don't have a brief. And because you don't have a brief, many people make a brief for themselves. Make the boss happy by showing him or by saying nice things about him and to him. Yes. And singing his praise. Yes. The same military head of state, General Obasanjo, when he called me and we had this chat, he said a West African head of state visited him in Nigeria. And Nigerian press and were blasting the man. I think either Togo or Benin, I don't remember. They were abusing him like they do. And the man got to General Obasanjo. I said, what the hell is going on in your country? He said, is that how they treat a visiting head of state? Obasanjo said, what? He said, your newspapers are radio stations, they're abusing me. He said, oh, they abuse me too. I said, he doesn't understand that in his country, if his picture appears on TV, everybody, if you're in your house, you get up. Yes. And the head of state is on air.
Whoa.
Yes.
He said that?
Yes. At that time, yes.
That means we're different.
Far better.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a break now, sir. We'll come back very soon. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It's still a conversation with Engineer Vincent Maduka. Sir, it's really kind of you to afford me this opportunity. You're an elder statesman. Yes, you are.
Elderly man.
No, sir. You're an elder statesman. You see, not many people have had the kind of experience you've had. You worked in the public service all your life. When they were to start the Nigerian Communications Commission, you served as consultant and CEO. You have contributed. So you are an elder statesman. You may not have been a politician before, and you may not be a politician right now.
Okay.
But your service in the public sector
Yes, fair enough.
is illustrious. And we have to ask, what do you see happening in our country? Or how do you see what is happening in our country?
I feel sad.
Yeah.
But then you must try and explain what your eyes are seeing. And see whether your analysis leads to a solution. And you can be sad, and then what? The main issue is we're not doing well.
Yeah.
Can we do better? Properly, the answer is yes. What are we not doing right? How do we do it right? And those are the difficult ones. How would we like Nigeria to be? That's easy. There are examples everywhere. You can't say you want to be like the UK, for instance. They've been at this game for a long time.
Very long.
You can say you want to be like Malaysia or like Hong Kong.
Yes.
You may not have exactly the same background or the same DNA as them, but you can see where they are coming from within your lifetime and where they are now.
Yeah.
So we can see what we would like to be. But how can we get there? Did we miss the road, as we say, somewhere? Or are we still on the right path, in which case it's only a matter of time? Now, that I can't answer all those questions easily. I can say that as two nations under external forces, Nigeria and say Malaysia, Nigeria and Singapore were at par. Beyond that, racially we are different.
Yes.
If you take the Singaporeans, they are largely Chinese and Indians.
Yes.
Those two kinds of people had writings before the current European civilization.
Yes.
If we had, it was not so widespread.
Yes.
So perhaps we have some catching up to do compared to those people.
Yes.
But we can see what they've done. And we know that everything they've done is within our capacity. But each of us can't get up and start to do those things. We have to be organized as a body. And we don't want to be organized externally. We have to be organized internally.
Yes.
Now, who is going to do it? That man is called a leader. A lot of people say, oh, followership matters. There are theories of leadership, and I was privileged to teach leadership at some point at university level. It's the leader that decides really how the followers are going to behave.
Yes.
A good leader is going to bring him a bunch of criminals, theoretically.
Yes.
And he wants to go from point A to point B. And those people are not used to being told what to do. A good leader will get them to go from point A to point B.
Okay.
It may take him a little longer than a bad leader.
Yeah. But sir, the leadership vacuum in Nigeria, is there really a leadership vacuum? Or it's a question of right or wrong?
I have not said there's no leader. I have not said so. But you're not a leader if you're not doing well as a leader. You can't say you're a footballer because you can kick the ball into your own goal. That's why I put you in my team.
No.
But you're a footballer and you're a kicker. And if we're not getting the ball in the net, it's because we have not got it right.
Got what right now? The leadership question or the people question?
No.
There's no everything together.
There's no peopleship.
Oh.
A leader takes his people to where they all want to go.
Okay.
Not where he wants to go. Where he and they want to go. They must coincide.
Just get them going.
You have to get them to go the right way, at the right pace, to get to the right place.
Okay. Now, if we...
It will take time. It will take time. But you must see at all times that we are in the right direction.
So, something like the ethics or ethos or morality of public life is not there. It's not like it used to be in your time.
I agree.
If that is not there, what's the hope for the country?
Oh, there are two ways of looking at it. You need somebody who knows, A, where we should be going, B, how we should do it.
Yeah.
He may not be dead certain, but he'll be adjusting as we're going.
Yes.
That's one. Two is, I'm not aware of any society that has really turned around in 8 years. No, so 8 years is not enough for any leader anywhere in the world.
We've been at it for...
Not with one leader.
1999. Oh, you are saying that we need one leader
who knows
the
where
way
we're going and how we can get there. And how to take this bunch of animals and organize them properly so that we can get there.
And then, but when his 8 years finishes,
you should get another man who also knows.
Okay, that's
who
why...
Who even knows better now, because you've got experience, you yourself choosing. You've got experience from the last experience.
That suggests that there must still be a space for the anointing of successors to political office holders.
Anointing suggests that somebody other than the mass of the people is determining.
Okay.
And if he's a bad man, anointing, you can only anoint a bad man.
Okay.
So that's not a solution.
That's not the solution.
It has to be an enlightened people taking a decision. Sometimes they're not taking decision. By enlightenment doesn't mean that they are well trained and skilled. But your pain will teach you how to select somebody who will make you prosper. Okay. The pain you are going through tells you that that's not the man who will get me there.
That's very good, sir. Now, I'm going to ask you this question about our Nigeria. How do we integrate ourselves better? Ethnic groupings and interrelationships and all that. For instance, you said that you went to school overseas on a scholarship from the Western region, and you were bonded. You came, you served, and you even rose to become GM of WNTV. These days, people are saying, no, if you don't speak this language, you can't be here. If you don't do that, you can't be there.
Well, you've chosen the wrong expression. If you don't speak this language, I speak the language.
Oh, no. Okay, no. With you, because you...
No, I know what you mean. I know what you mean, yes.
You went to King's College, you speak Yoruba.
No, I'm not allowed to speak any other language at King's.
At King's, yes, I know.
Yes. But no, my own is slightly different.
Yes.
I was born in Lagos, here, Ekpetedo. All right? Yeah. Went to primary school in Lagos.
In Lagos.
My first language might not have been exactly Yoruba, but I spoke Yoruba outside. And if I crossed that door, I spoke Igbo.
Igbo.
All right? And then my dad called me Dele, which was my general name. Yeah. If you called me Ifeanyi Chukwu, I knew I was in trouble.
Whoa. That was the code.
So I knew something's gone wrong.
Yes.
All right. So home and outside. But I think we need time. And I'll tell you why.
Yes, sir.
When I was growing up in the street in Lagos, you see, when you are a successful GM and so, you can now talk about when you are growing in the street. Exactly. But if you ended up in the street, you won't talk about it.
That's true, sir.
When I was growing up in the street, we used to call people Kubo Kubo. And that was anybody who was not Hausa and not Yoruba. We didn't know all these other grades.
Yes.
Kobo Kobo comes from Kobo Kobo. And
Yes.
somebody says it wrongly.
Yes, and
And
let's
it's
go.
so- Then the other way, Aroke.
Aroke, yes.
All right? He didn't speak Inago.
Yeah.
Inago is Lagos.
It's Lagos,
All these
yes.
people now claiming that they own Lagos, and I lie.
Yes.
All right? They were Arokes
Yes.
when I was growing up. They all had marks.
Uh-huh.
Aroke. Or they were Ijebus.
Yes.
Huh? And the Ijebus were the ones renting our bicycles for 1 kobo.
Mm-hmm.
They were the ones mending bicycles. They were the ones doing blacksmithery,
Yeah.
goldsmith.
Mm-hmm.
And they were making Owo Ijebu.
Owojebu, yes.
All right.
Manda.
Banda.
Yes.
So they were not Lagosians. I was a Lagosian.
Born.
Because we were the ones
bred.
calling other people things.
Yes.
We were the ones calling other people names.
Yes.
Calling Ijebuni, Aroke,
Yes.
and so on. All right? That was, let's say that was 80 years ago.
Yes.
I got to Ibadan. After university,
Yes.
I was working there. And the Ekiti man was Ekiti. He was not that. He was Ekiti.
Yes.
Ijebu man was Ijebu man.
Yes.
In Ibadan, they used to say to people, Ijebu nie abeyan. Ijebu nie abeyan. And during the crisis, wet here
crisis,
all right?
yes.
If you didn't answer properly, they might pour petrol on you.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, it was as bad as that. So, but now, all those Ijebus and the Arokes, now they are claiming that they are all together in Yoruba. Yoruba is not a Yoruba word.
Yes.
The name Yoruba, when I was broadcasting, we said, Enyara Karo Jire. The word Yoruba was around, but we didn't use it.
Yes.
Because it was not so acceptable.
Okay.
Karo Jire means Ekiti. It's Karo Jire. Ijesha.
Karo Jire.
Oyo.
Yeah.
Ondo.
There's a common greeting amongst them. Yes.
Karo Jire. Yoruba was either Aroke or, well, Yoruba was essentially biblical. I'm not an expert in what I'm talking about, but I'm somebody who experienced it.
It's experiential for you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yoruba was as written in the Bible, then in
text.
Text.
Okay.
Yes.
But, sir,
where is the origin of the word Yoruba?
Exactly.
You can find out after this program. I don't know.
I will. But you said we need time.
Yes.
What would this time do?
What I'm driving at is that we've come from the time when you said Ijebuni Abeyan to the time that you are now saying that you, all of you jointly.
Yes.
So you've united.
Yes.
Ijebus at Eyon have united. Huh?
Yeah. Okay, so you believe that at some
If
time,
there is enough time, yes.
if there's enough time,
Yes.
there's going to be that
Yes.
unity
Yes.
that will
Yes.
bring us
Yes.
all
Yes. But you
together.
can hasten it by deliberation.
Okay.
By putting things in place to make it happen. You can. You don't just wait like typical
Just
waiting for God.
Waiting for God.
Or Godot.
But God is already here.
God is very busy.
Yeah.
He's very busy. And Nigeria is not the only problem. It's the only
At
problem.
all.
Exactly.
Plenty trouble.
Yes.
Sir, now
Yes.
that you're retired,
Yes.
what's your day like?
In a way, disorganized.
How?
Yes. I mean, I don't wake up. Today I knew I had to come here.
Yes.
And yesterday I said, oh, how am I going? Oh, a lion. Which one do I want to wear? I don't want to. I can't wear anything formal.
Yes.
So that occupies my mind. Wondering how am I going to? What do I put on?
Yes.
And so on. And then I iron my.
Oh, you iron by yourself?
Yeah.
Because so I'm in good company then.
You do that too.
Oh yes, I do.
I have time, man. And I'm
Nobody
very
can
critical.
iron for me.
I'm very critical. Exactly. Very critical.
Yes.
Whatever the washerman does, he does the bulk.
Yes.
But sometimes I take out what he has, then I wet it, maybe starch it, and because I have time on my hands.
You get the crease right.
Yeah, I get it.
So what
Then
else do you do
I have
on a daily
books,
basis?
books, which I've never finished.
Oh.
I've never. I take one, I read part of it, and then when I come back, I can't find it. So I take the next one, and I read. Because the one I was reading, I might have gone downstairs with it and left it downstairs.
Okay.
When I want to get it back. I don't want to go back downstairs, or maybe. So I pick up another book.
Yes. And start reading.
Yes, start reading.
And
so I most of the time I watch TV.
Okay.
Second to that, I read. And
yes,
then,
the book.
Yes. It took me a long time.
Yes. The book.
Because I was not doing it continuously.
Yes.
I did it. I didn't like it. I gave up.
Yeah.
Then I met the founder of the Pan-Atlantic University.
Right.
I've known their organization way back from my Ibadan days. And I found out he was writing 3 books at the same time.
3?
He was a professor, professor of engineering. He was writing 3 books.
Professor of engineering?
Yes. But none of those 3 was in engineering at the time I'm talking about. I said, how the hell are you? I can't write 1 book, and you are writing 3. And he told me how he organized himself, and he got somebody to dictate to. Dictate to, you go away, do that. Anyway, finally I met my publisher, who began to organize me. And so things started to move very quickly.
And we got here.
Yes.
Real life.
Well, this looks like an ad for me. Which
it is, sir. It is, sir. Ordinarily, I wouldn't do this, but for you, I would do it because you are an icon in our profession. You are a distinguished engineer, a distinguished broadcaster, and you trained many of us. I didn't have the privilege of working directly under you, but I actually was in broadcasting, let me say it proudly, when you were still in broadcasting. So I started in 1980, so 6 years later you were retired.
Yes.
But I still saw and followed stuff you did. More than that, sir, you are an example of a great Nigerian who served his country with all that he's got. So talking about your book is a privilege. And even at the end of the program, we'll put where and how people can buy this book. I'd like to thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you very much.
For coming to grace our studios, and I look forward to the next time we'll be with you. Thank you so much, sir.
I feel honored. I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
The honor, actually, you honored us by coming. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
It's been Timeless Conversations. This week, we had Engineer Vincent Maduka. Yes, he told you that Vincent Dele Maduka. Anytime his father said Ifeanyi Chukwu, there was trouble. But there was no trouble because I can't even call him Ifeanyi Chukwu. It's Engineer Vincent Maduka as my guest on Timeless Conversations for this edition. We look forward to next time that I'll bring another guest to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or
And a very good afternoon. I am Emmanuel Olubobukun. This is News Brief. The Supreme Court has upheld the federal government's appeal challenging the verdict of the appeal court, which had dismissed the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. Now, in upholding the government's appeal, the Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial at the Federal Court. The Supreme Court in the judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, but prepared by Justice Garba Lawal, held that the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Kanu could not be tried again based on the illegality perpetrated against him by the federal government following the invasion of his home. Also, the court held that although the Nigerian government was reckless and unlawfully rendered Kanu from Kenya, as such unlawful acts has not divested any court from proceeding with trial. Now, Justice Lawal said that no Nigerian law was cited in the suit seeking Kanu's release on the grounds of unlawful abduction from Kenya. According to the court, at the moment, the remedy for such an action is for Kanu to file a civil matter against the act instead of removing the powers of the court to continue with his trial for alleged criminal charges. President Bola Tinubu says nationhood and belief in one country will put Nigeria on the right path. He therefore pledged to work with the National Assembly to achieve this goal. Now, Tinubu stated this at a colloquium in honor of Senate President Godswill Akpabio at his 61st birthday celebration yesterday in Abuja. The theme of the event was a legislative agenda for national development. Tinubu described Akpabio as a man who is committed to the values of national development.
The nationhood and the belief in one country will put us on the right path. Having you as a partner, having Abbas as a partner, as the speaker, is good enough for me to succeed.
Brought me to Abuja was transformational leadership. We will transform the laws of Nigeria. We will reform those things that we can reform for Nigeria to work. If we need to tinker more with the constitution, we'll do so. Because by the time we are through due process, and we collate what we have been able to, to change in the constitution, then we will now have the people's constitution.
The keynote speaker, Lisa Akpakuba, has appreciated the president for his courage and diligence in leading the nation on the path of growth and recovery with innovative ideas and for appointing competent hands to run the affairs of the country.
The removal of subsidy entirely unsettled constitution for 23 years ought to end with the 10th National Assembly. The constitution right now is not an act. It is a schedule attached to an act. So Professor Mwabeze says if you invoke section 4.1 and section 4.4 of the constitution, all you need to do is detach the schedule from the act and replace it with the new constitution. And that is the matter resolved.
The Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Rivers State, Professor Zaccheaus Adangu, our senior advocate of Nigeria, has resigned from office. Adangu disclosed this in his resignation letter forwarded on Thursday to the office of the Governor of the state, Sir Siminalayi Fubara, through the office of the Secretary to the Government. In his letter, he noted that his resignation is based on personal principles while thanking the Governor for the privilege to serve in his administration, adding that he and his family are indebted to the Governor. Now, 7 of the 18 commissioners that have quit Governor Siminalayi Fubara Executive Council, complicating the political imbroglio in the state. Now, also, the 27 members of the House of Assembly who defected on Monday from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC) sat at the auditorium of the Assembly quarters. Now, this is despite the demolition of the House of Assembly complex by the government and an ex parte injunction granted by Justice M.Y. Nagugu. On Tuesday, relying on the injunction, 4 members of the House met, received and passed Governor Fubara's 2024 appropriation bill. The governor signed the bill yesterday. Now, Chairman of the Caretaker Committee in Rivers State Chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Tony Okocha, says Governor Sim Fubara was the architect of the political crisis rocking the state. Now, Okocha made the declaration on Thursday in Abuja while addressing newsmen at the party national secretariat. He explained that the governor left governance completely and began chasing shadows.
Assuming we are not considering that the other 27 members were dead, 4-member assembly in a 31-member house does not qualify as 1/3. and lacks the authority to seize. I don't know if I'm like, I mean, we're all students of history and politics. 1/3 of 31. Okay, let's be liberal, 10. Otherwise, I would have said 11. There are 4 persons, 4 members, and they are not opposed. They are not saying they are more than 4. That's my happiness. Because, of course, pictures will speak. You know, they say words speak millions. The pictures speak 10 millions. That's the Chinese adage. Okay, so the 4 persons who sat and claim to have declared the seat of the 27 persons are even in error. It's illegality. They don't qualify. That ought not to mean at all. Even the governor, as I would say, that the governor must not try illegality, because we as a political party, we are the watchdog. We will fight within all legal means, within all legitimate means, to ensure that the right things are done.
Now, political leaders in the Obio-Akpo local government area of Rivers State have backed Governor Siminalayi Fubara and Ellison A, urging them not to be distracted by the state's political turmoil. Now, PDP members, including Solomon Abeke and Chijoke Inhoa, have condemned the verbal and physical attacks on Fubara and advised the police to remain neutral. They have also reserved to begin a grassroots sensitization for a fresh election into the 2 state assembly seats in the area. Now away from Rivers State, the other state Governor Godwin Obaseki said he will support whoever emerges as the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the state governorship election slated for September 21, 2024. Obaseki stated it in Abuja on Thursday during the PDP National Working Committee meeting with the party's Edo State stakeholders, declared that there is no issue between him and his Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu.
We waited till now to complete what we've set out to do, so that there is evidence. So our politics is politics of truth, where we say we did something and we can show you what we did. It's not a politics of lies, where people create phantoms and want people to believe the lies they are selling to them. But more importantly, the reason why I decided to bring you in now is we are finishing the game. You are the finishing team. Edo must continue to be PDP. We have turned our party around in Edo State. PDP controls Edo at the ward levels, at the local government level, and at the state level. And we will demonstrate it in the polls. We know the strategy of the opposition. They want to bring money. They want to bring people with billions of naira to challenge us. We did it before, we do it again. Money cannot buy Edo. Can money buy us? So no matter the amount of money they are putting together to come and purchase this state, it is not going to happen. Not with you people on the watch.
Now, ahead of the forthcoming February 2024 governorship primaries by political parties in Edo State, General Charles Yabere, retired, says his vision is to take the state to the next level of robust development. He disclosed this while formally declaring his intention to run for the governorship position at his All Progressive Congress Secretariat on Thursday in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Now, he emphasized the need for the APC in the state to be more formidable ahead of the election.
That this is the next move to take APC to the next higher level, in fact, to the next highest level, because Edo State is the heartbeat of the nation. APC Edo State should be the heartbeat of APC, in Jesus' name. And we must move APC Edo State to APC at the national level in the next election. We will win the next governorship election by God's grace. And I have said at various fora that it's only what you have that you can give out. We don't have governorship. We don't have Osadebe learning with us. It's one thing that we don't have. So at this particular time, we must not get it wrong. And how do we do that? Is by presenting the right candidate, the right aspirant who will eventually turn the candidate of the party. And I stand before you to present myself as the best and the best that can win the election for Edo State.
Now, to promote effective cooperation with civilians, Army 81 Division also conducted an education outreach to students and children in 2 junior secondary schools in Victoria Island. Now, General Officer Commanding 81 Division Major General M.T. Usman says the division deemed it necessary to cushion the harsh economic effect on the parents by supporting the learning and exam preparatory activities of the students. Now, the GSA, represented by the Acting Director, 81 Division Educational Service, Colonel Olalekan Abamiteko, says it is part of the philosophy of the COAS.
Outreach that you witnessed today is part of the civil-military cooperation to support the ongoing exercise Stillwater 3 2023, which is being carried out by units and formations throughout the country. Our General Officer Commanding 81 Div Nigerian Army, Major General M.T. Usman, has directed that we should also complement the civil-military activities to enhance the ongoing, to complement the one conducted in other places, the medical outreaches that were conducted in places like Ado Aja, Obalende, Oworoshoki, and Yewa community in Ogun State. They donate writing materials and textbooks to the students of Victoria Island Junior Secondary School and Government Junior College, all within the 81 Div Nigerian Army area of responsibility.
Our joy knows no boundaries. And one of these schools around, Victoria Secondary School has been recognized by God as that we usher a lot of goodies to children. We can never say thank you enough to this officer. For God in His infinite mercy will meet them at their parents' house. Please, in the name of Jesus. I'm glad that we are like this. I want to give thanks. We are very thankful.
The Crime Reporters Association of Nigeria held its annual lecture and awarded notable personalities, with the president and ESCOs discussing the reasons behind the award.
And listen more to these people. They shouldn't forget they are professionals in a particular beat, crime beat, dealing with national challenges. And is this program, people look at it from the angle of come eat, come listen to good music, come be entertained. But I think the government should be more concerned with what are the topics these people pick. As journalists who are in the crime beat, what informed the decision to pick such topics? Listen to them and do something towards what they're talking about.
All right, thank you so much. It shows what we are doing is effective. It shows people who are glad to associate with us. Well, for the awardees, I want to say congratulations to them. And this is not for them to stop what they've done. It is to continue to encourage them to do more for the security of lives and properties in Nigeria. And for others who are yet to receive our award, well, this award is not for sale. I want to tell them to go out there and do whatever they can do to improve on the security of lives and properties in Nigeria. We are watching on them. We will look at them, pick them, and give them award when they deserve it.
Yes, CRAN, we tend to crown up our annual lecture with an award where we recognize people who are outstanding individuals who really stood out in every area of their endeavors. And of course, for those who did not have today, like we keep telling them, all we need you to do is just put in more effort so that you'll be recognized. As we also recognize, we also chastise. If anybody, any one of them does anything wrong, of course we put pen to paper to actually do the needful. So make them to do the needful. For the awardees, it is well deserving and we expect more from them.
My piece of advice to government is, if I'm to say, we have been talking about these presidents, they are the cause of the problem. They are not the cause of the problem. It's that's the masses. Because the crime is too much in Nigeria. There's no truth. So I'm only advising this President Tinubu, Bola Tinubu. Everybody has been talking Tinubu is very bad. To me, Tinubu is not the cause of the problem. The problem has been since I was born. So it's only our Father Yahshua the Messiah will help us to calm the situation. Thank you.
The Inspector General of Police to look into this issue where students are being harassed. Because students will resist. We don't want another answers. Let him talk to them. Is it right? Let him come and make bold statements. Say it unequivocally whether it is right to search people's phone or not. If it is right, let him tell them the modalities, how and when the time they should search people's phone. Because the students are complaining. And I witnessed it with my 2 eyes.
Now, former governor of Anambra State, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezefe, is dead. Now, according to a short press release issued and signed by Chief Rob Ezefe on behalf of the family, the former governor died at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, on Thursday. Born on November 20th, 1938, the deceased, fondly called Kwadike, was governor of Anambra State between January 1992 to November 1993 during the aborted Third Republic. Now move on to other parts of Africa. A total of 80 suspects have been named following a failed attempted coup in Freetown, Sierra Leone on November 26. Now the suspects, including former President Ernest Bai Koroma, who is currently serving military officers, and 5 dismissed military officers. The remaining 79 suspects are in custody at the Criminal Investigations Department. The Inspector General has also urged the public to provide information to arrest the remaining suspects. The failed coup resulted in over 20 deaths in Freetown, with armed individuals attacking military barracks, prisons, and other locations. Now we're moving outside Africa. European Union leaders have agreed to open membership talks with Ukraine, even as it continues to fight Russia's invasion. But they could not agree on a €50 billion package of financial aid for Kyiv due to opposition from Hungary. Now at the summit in Brussels, other leaders bypassed objections from Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban by getting him to leave the room while they took the historic step of agreeing to start accession negotiations with a country at war. Now, but they could not overcome resistance from Orban, who maintains close ties to Russia, to revamp of the bloc's budget to channel vital financial support to Ukraine and provide more cash for other EU priorities such as managing migration. And now moving straight to business, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has disclosed its commitment to implementing strategies aimed at balancing and staggered exchange rates and also curbing the surge in inflation rates. Governor Olayomi Kadoso presented these plans to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Banking, Insurance and other financial institutions. Highlighting the economic forecast for 2024, Governor Kadoso expressed optimism that both inflation and exchange rates would endure fluctuating pressures and achieve stability, projecting a positive outlook for Nigeria's domestic economy. Additionally, the CBN anticipated reduced revenue from oil export for the fiscal year, with Nigerian foreign exchange market trade reaching 18.804 billion naira in the third quarter of 2023.
Fine-tuning monetary policy tools, which include improving the effectiveness of liquidity management and enhancing communication with the public. I'll be happy to mention that on a regular basis we have a liquidity management committee within the central bank, which for now meets on a daily basis at 8 o'clock in the morning to monitor liquidity within the system. Demand management measures. Tightening monetary policy stance to achieve positive real interest rates. 2, utilizing forward guidance and, very importantly, transparency. G, other measures. Temporarily halting monetary financing of fiscal deficits. 2, dismantling administrative bottlenecks, and 3, aggressive recovering of overdue loans.
Chairman of the Joint Committee, Senator Tokunbo Abiru, emphasized that the interactive session was organized in accordance with existing laws for the statutory briefing by the CBN. Commending the effort of the CBN Governor and the management team, co-chairman of the committee, and Bair Bello El-Rufai, praised the measures being implemented to stabilize the economy overall.
It is going to be one of the series of meetings that we'll be engaging on as we move forward, particularly in the 10th Assembly. As we all know, the Act, the subsisting Act of the CBN, that's CBN Act 2007, makes clear provisions for specific compliance obligations on the part of the CBN with respect to its reporting and briefing obligations to the National Assembly. And specifically,
both houses know the economic situation, know the difficult situation you've inherited, and we believe that you have the credentials, the capacity, the honesty, and the boldness to take us to the next level. Please, Mr. Governor and your team, use this experienced legislators, a lot of former governors, my chairman from the banking sector, and assist us to assist you, to assist the...
Now move on straight to entertainment news. Nigerian artist Charlie Boy shared his battle with prostate cancer on Instagram, revealing how he cheated death this year and advocating for men to be tested for the condition, stating that they should be open to seeking treatment. Now finally in sport, Uganda's defeat of Nigeria in the 2024 T20 World Cup qualifiers resulted in a 6-wicket defeat with 30 balls remaining. Nigeria's 63 runs were chased by Uganda, who made 66 runs for the loss of 4 wickets. Now the hosts finished top of the group with 6 points, followed by Namibia in second and Nigeria in third with 2 points ahead of Rwanda. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plosive Africa and Plosive Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from LimeMix on LimeMix.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. I am Emmanuel Olubobokun. Many thanks for watching.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Being online has become a part of our every waking moment. From the moment we wake up in the morning till we hit the pillow at night, we are browsing, scrolling through social media, responding to messages. We live our lives online almost as much as we live it in reality. These anonymous interactions, like any other human interaction, comes with complexity and challenges. People get into civil discussions, debates, banter, and share with one another. With these interactions come disagreements, arguments, conflicts that can soon degenerate into trolling, bullying, and general unpleasantness. The discretion we employ in face-to-face interaction is further decreased online. In fact, according to psychologist Robert Sutton, disrespectful, demeaning, and downright mean-spirited behavior is worse than ever. This behavior is especially true of online discourse, which researchers describe as the online disinhibition effect. Stanford psychology professor John Sula in 2004 said, The online disinhibition effects can cause people to act out in either a benign manner, wherein they overshare their personal information, or in a toxic manner, wherein they become abusive or threatening. "I am in my house, come and beat me" is a common saying online that alludes to the inaccessibility that emboldens even regular people to behave in less than civil ways online. Another factor responsible for this behavior, apart from anonymity and availability, is solipsistic introduction, a situation, according to Dr. Sula, where you don't have any physical cues associated with the person you're communicating with, and other person becomes just a voice in your head. As such, the people in your online conversations merely become characters in your imagination, formed by your own personal history and expectations. You might also hear his or her voice as your own, which makes you feel more comfortable with the other person and further lowers your inhibitions. As we have rules that guide our interactions in real life, unspoken rules need to be developed for online interactions. Social media etiquette, or social mannerism simply put, means do's and don'ts for social media interactions. These etiquettes are also referred to as netiquettes. The term netiquette refers to all aspects of online communication, including email, instant messaging, social media, multiplayer gaming, and other forms of online communication. The main goal behind netiquette or mannerisms on social media is to treat others with respect and take care of intellectual property rights and associated implications. Personal information, images, or videos of anyone should not be shared without consent or mentioning credits where due. Except we seek to change such behaviors, it will pervade. Here are some social media netiquettes. When sending a DM, be polite and go straight to the point. When responding to posts, even if you disagree, be careful not to use condescending and insultive words. Take a 5-minute pause before you post any comments. Don't comment on topics that people tend to be passionate about. Don't respond to insults or hateful language. Don't say to people online what you won't have the audacity to say to them in person. Avoid excessive tagging of people. Ask before tagging people. Although it may seem inoffensive, tagging a friend or acquaintance on social media without their permission could in many ways cause problems for that person. Good social media etiquette means you should always request for permission before tagging anyone. Post only flattering pictures of other people. Apply the billboard test. Assume that everyone in the world can and will see everything you post. So if it's not billboard worthy, don't post it. Give credit where it's due. Don't post other people's photos or quotes without clear attribution. This means no screen grabs even if you have the best intentions. Instead, use a repost app to properly credit others with your own content. Think of the future you. Your taste will change, as will your sense of humor, but your photos will live on forever. Use caution when posting. Don't take screenshots of other people's private moments that they shared with you in confidence. Censor yourself. You might treat your Facebook or Twitter accounts as diaries. Don't share everything with your readers. Some things are meant to be kept private.
Hello people, Mbedoma. That is good evening in my native dialect Igbo. Ahambo Nwajiaga Omero. And you're welcome to your favorite primetime TV show, Ways. It's our season break special. And as we round off the year and mark our 4 years anniversary, I want to highlight why I love Ways and the impact it has had on me personally and on my journey onto television by answering 10 personal questions about Ways and how it fits into my life. Well, I would say that the show addresses societal issues and concerns, and it gives relevant information. And most of the time what we do is that we focus on communication and exploring different perspectives to different issues. So, well, on this, I would say my personal mission is to learn and grow constantly. You know, continuously pushing my boundaries and challenging myself to achieve my full potential. And yes, I must say, Ways has been of great help, and it has made a difference because it helps me to make a difference in the lives of others and also to give back to the society. Okay, on this, I would say the Japa series, and that would be the topic on legal routes to migration. Yeah, that one. My day job. Okay, so I'm a head business development and partnerships at an IT company called TBO Consulting. Well, I like that I'm learning and expanding my knowledge, especially on a daily basis, and this helps to keep me quite engaged. Well, and also constantly I'm being challenged to solve problems, answer people's questions and concerns, complete tasks in a way that is quite helpful. And for me, when I succeed in assisting people, it gives me a sense of purpose and satisfaction. Well, myself. Well, in terms of, I'm proud of myself because in terms of how far I have come, and this would be in different aspects of my life, in my learning, in growing, in helping other people either through information dissemination or just being helpful. Achieving set goals, no matter the challenges, building good relationships, and being true to myself and making a difference where possible. Well, this is okay, so on this, I would say my fear of the unknown. Why would I say fear of the unknown? You know, that uncertainty about the future can be quite unsettling, and it leads to anxiety about things like life, relationships, health, and personal fulfillment, depending on what I set for myself. Well, I would say one major challenge this year has been on the professional side of it. You know, I changed jobs, and that will require taking on a new responsibility because now I head a whole unit and I have a whole team looking up to me, dealing with different conflicts that will come up and just being my usual go-to solution provider. And it has been quite challenging but fascinating all at the same time. And I've had the opportunity to learn a lot from it. Yeah. If I were elected president for one day, what would be my #1 priority on my to-do list? Let me say, my proposed #1 priority would be to address the issue of corruption. And under that, I would have a few set goals. And one major one would be strengthening anti-corruption institutions. And this includes increasing the capacity and resources for that's the EFCC, that's the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and other relevant bodies that would help out and also providing them with the necessary trainings and tools required. Another thing I would do in this regard would be implementing systematic reforms. And what this would help to do is to improve transparency in government procurement processes, and it will also help to strengthen whistleblowing protection mechanisms. And, you know, introducing stricter sanctions for corruption offenses, because that's the only way you can get people to listen sometimes. Then the next one would be promoting a culture of integrity. And what I would do, this would entail fostering public awareness about, you know, the effect of corruption and encouraging citizens to actively participate to fight against it. Well, another point I would concentrate on would be addressing the root causes of corruption, because if we don't address the root causes, then we're just wasting our time. And this would include tackling the major ones, which is poverty, inequality, and a weak rule of law. Because if we had law, we had good, strong rule of law, a lot of things will not go unpunished. Well, I would say that the media plays a very, very crucial role in national transformation, and this is in several ways. It helps to disseminate information for the public, keeping them informed on national issues, government policies, and global affairs. You know, awareness helps to empower the citizens to participate actively. If you don't do that, then they feel like they're left out. So this will help them to participate actively in democratic processes and be able to hold their leaders accountable. And this will help to shape public opinion and influence attitudes towards national issues. So we get more interaction. Well, there are several ways I unwind, and I'll just mention a few. I would say I love to spend time with my family and friends. I play a whole lot of tennis when I get the time, and I watch movies, and I love to travel. So my favorite show this year is the Japa series, like I mentioned earlier. And the topic we're going to be concentrating on is legal routes to migration. And that's where we discussed with Zeno Ojobo. And she's a scholarship and admissions coach. And we discussed on the issue on some of the legal routes to migrate out of Nigeria. And I know she touched majorly on scholarships. And scholarships, what do you expect and how do you prepare? Which one do you go for? How is it going to be funded? Whether it's going to be self-funded or you're going to take a study loan from international bodies or institutional scholarships. Because I remember she mentioned that. And that way, that's where you can get a research-based funding. What was it called? A research-based funding position, and that would also assist in getting you a grant for students, and you can find yourself as a student graduate assistant. Yeah, so that would include assisting some of the professors in the university while getting the grant so that you'll be able to study also. So in case you can't remember this episode, I would play some parts of it for you, and I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, illegal migration in Nigeria is a complex issue driven by poverty, economic disparity, political instability, and lack of access to education and opportunities. Migrants without credible information face significant risk, including exploitation, abuse, and harsh conditions. Illegal migration also puts a strain on the host countries' resources and of course, and leads to brain drain in Nigeria. Now, addressing illegal migration requires tackling root causes, strengthening border security, promoting legal migration pathways, fostering international cooperations, and protecting migrants' rights, amongst others. So tonight we're asking, what are the legal routes to migrating in Nigeria, right? Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 801-803-4663. Now, you know, this subject is a sore point for Uti because she's anti-Japa. But you see, the truth is, the reason... you are pro-Nigeria. Let me put it.
Feelings, exactly.
Yes, you are actually very pro-Nigeria because you are somebody that lived in the UK for years. And you still decided that you have to come back to Nigeria. So I get you. But the reason we are having this conversation today is that tomorrow somebody will go and enter cargo and says he wants to go to this thing. Or somebody will take a visiting visa and go and stay in another man's country illegally, right? Whether we like it or not, illegal migration happens every single day. So my point is, instead of us, you know, trying to say, why are you doing this? Why don't we teach people better ways of migrating? How about that?
No, I agree. So why I said I have mixed feelings is because I don't have a problem with people migrating to acquire knowledge, to develop themselves, to grow. But I would love for there to also be a, is repatriation the right word for live people? I'm not sure. I'd like there to be a return of that knowledge and people with a view to improving things and making things better here. So that's why I said it's mixed feelings. But I totally agree. Too many people are jackpotting the wrong way. So being able to do it in a legal manner and understanding the opportunities that are there is also very important. So I think that when people, the people who, like our guests, who are helping people to do it the right way,
absolutely,
are actually very, very valuable, because this process is not only sometimes very complex, but it's very expensive.
Are you telling me?
So anybody that can help you to, one, find a way to reduce those costs, find a way to gain, because this also scholarships and things for education.
Oh yeah, I think she's the perfect person.
Exactly, of gaining knowledge. So yes, I understand it, but I still have mixed feelings.
Yeah, I mean, she's the perfect guest, and I'll tell you why. Because I kind of like monitor her page on social media, and I see that beyond, you see, it's one thing for you to say, okay, these are legal means. A lot of times, she presents opportunities that even when you do not have financial, you know, she talks a lot about opportunities that are available without you having to pay money. Yeah. You know, you get a sponsorship, you get a scholarship, you know, all of those kind of things. But so quickly,
better ways
to do
it.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's just bring in our guest now. Committed to helping aspiring graduate school aspirants succeed, Zeno Ojogbo teaches prospective graduate school applicants to navigate the complex process of securing scholarships and studying abroad. Under her tutelage, these applicants have secured over $4 million and relocated abroad alone or with their families. Now, Zeno is a scholarship and admissions coach with SFM Migration and a PhD candidate, University of Waterloo, Canada. And she's joined us live from the Canada. Thank you so much, Zeno, for joining us this.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
Finally. Yes, so it's good to be here. Finally. You should add finally. We've been chasing Zeno for over 2 months.
There you go.
But I mean, I can understand your schedule is busy. But we had to literally leave the conversation because I don't want us to just have this conversation just with anybody. Right? I mean, so first of all, a quick word, right? Tell us, as someone that is really passionate about helping people, why did you even start to venture in these particulars? What led to this first, before we even then quickly go into what's it called, the conversation for today?
Okay, yeah. So I started. It was during COVID. I became active on social media. Right, I just started posting on social media, and people see me in Canada. They see that I'm in school, and people started to ask the question like, "How did you do this? Like, how are you studying?" People know that studying abroad is expensive. And I also came to Canada with my son at that time, who was 2 years old. So people saw this and they started asking me this question, like, how did you do it? How do you pay your tuition? We know that it's expensive. What do you do? And I started sharing, so I let them know that, yeah, just like you many years ago, I wanted to come to Canada, but I didn't have the money. Like, it's expensive to school abroad. If you are not from a wealthy family, an average person can barely afford it. So I was like them, I didn't have the money, and I like to find solutions to problems. But I also remember that after I graduated from the University of Benin many years ago, there were some of my classmates that went abroad to study. Like, these were my classmates, so we knew the financial situation of all of us. But if people could go abroad to study, I thought about it like, I know that these people are not from that kind of wealthy family where they can pay tuition. How did they do it? So I became curious and I started to ask questions, and that was how I found out that, yeah, I knew that there were scholarships, but I also had that mindset that for each scholarship, you must have graduated